I'm so excited to get this gingerbread house made with you guys today. And to be honest, it's the only kind of gingerbread house I've ever made. So let's get started. With today's supply list. We have our canvas, our yellow, red, blue, black and white acrylic paint, our cup of water, our brushes, a large flat brush, a medium brush, and a small brush. Optional equipment is a pencil and an extra cup of water. So let's get started. So our gingerbread house painting is going to start with our background, okay? And our background is our sky, a nice daytime sky, so it's going to be light. So I've taken some blue and white paint and put it on my palette. I used my little sticks to get it on there. You see lots more white than blue, but that's okay. So I'm just going to grab some of the blue and put it here, and some of the white, okay? I'm going to blend that together. Now I want it to be really bright, so I'm not using tons of blue, okay? Really keeping it light. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come into here and come up and down. Now even that's too dark for me, so I'm going to grab just straight white, okay? Didn't wash off my brush. I just want to lighten up that background. Okay, again, lots more white. And I'm bringing it down, excuse me, bring it down pretty far. And again, you can make it as bright or as, you know, if you want it a little bit darker, maybe it's dusk, that's fine too. But I like the lightness of the white to make that blue very, very soft. And again, I'm not looking to make brand new colors, so I'm just blending it in there. So I'm gonna add a little bit more, grab some white. So I'm taking the blue and white I've already mixed, grabbing that and then more white. And just up and down. Again, up and down. It's important to, you know, there's not a lot of rules. I don't think, you know, art shouldn't have many rules. It's art. You're supposed to enjoy it and have fun. But direction's kind of important. So if I'm doing a background, you know, I like to go up and down. For skies, if I was doing, say, a scene, I would just do my sky would go left to right, but it's completely up to you, okay? But right now I'm just going up and down. Again, a lot of that white on there, mixed in with some of that blue. You may want to do a sky that's green. You know what? Your choice, your painting. By all means, do whatever makes you happy when it comes to painting. You notice I'm not coming all the way down to the bottom because that's where my house is going to sit and that's where my snow is going to be. So I'm coming down here and then I'm just dragging it up and down. There we go. So we're getting our background there. It's pretty good. And again, like I said, if you want to lighten it up, just go straight up white and it'll blend in nicely. Maybe if I put my sky at, you know, up by the Arctic Circle, we could maybe have some Aurora Borealis behind our little gingerbread house. That's always fun. I've seen that in person and it is magnificent. Okay, so almost done with getting our paint on here. Now remember, like I always say, I paint my entire canvas, but what does that mean? It means the top gets painted, the sides, as well as the bottom, okay? And the bottom on this is gonna be white, so you don't have to paint it if you don't wish. I like to have paint on my whole canvas, okay? So I know I have to get to my sides over here. Again, I'm kind of doing this blind, but that's okay. I can always fix it up later. It's the sides. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry up a little bit. Maybe come down a little bit further. Again, I'm gonna cover it over. Nice. Okay, so I like that. So I think I'm going to let that dry a little bit and then we'll continue on. So our painting is dry now, and I did cut away because you literally would have sat here and watched paint dry. So no steps were taken after I left you. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put in our snowbank where our house lives. So again, using the large brush, and you can use the white directly out of the tub. Because it's dry, you don't have to worry about taking any color and putting it back in. We never want to do that. So I'm going to make it have like a little mound. Okay, you ready? And you could use your big brush, and I'm just going like that. Again, I'll get some more paint. And you see how I came all the way down? I didn't have to come down that far, but I did, and that's okay because I got lots of paint. And we'll cover it. Anytime I'm trying to cover a color of any sort, I always put white down. Even if I don't get full coverage, at least it's going to mute whatever the color was on the bottom. And with that, I'd be able to color it with whatever color I choose to put on afterwards. Okay? So I'm doing that stroke there like that, you know. I was talking about how the direction we're going in. So that's our snow mound. Okay, I'm gonna make it a little bit less. Now I'll show you how to put snow drift in there if you want a snow drift. But right now we're gonna get the majority of our painting done first, okay? So what I'm gonna do now is we're going to outline where we're going to put our house. Now you can use pencil if you'd like for this, but I prefer to use paint. The reason being is that pencil's kind of, you know, if you're going over it with something light, you're really committed with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my small brush, and you know, we mixed that light blue earlier. So I'm not going to make exact. Let me see. Let's try going with more of a white, okay? To do the outline of our house. So first thing we're going to do is our doorway. And our doorway looks like a tongue depressor. So we're going into the center, and we're going to come up, around, and down. Okay? And if I like where that is, it's cool. I'll keep it. And I do like where that is. So now, I haven't decided if it's too big. I think it may be too big. So what am I gonna do? I don't wanna commit to that. I take my brush and kind of erase it. See, that's why we've got one with that light color. Look, just by dragging it through, we've erased it. I always like to show you how to fix a problem, because we're not together, so I can't really answer that question in the middle. If you say, oh, it's too big, it's too small, what have you. It's too small, you just keep working out. So I thought that was a little bit too big for the size of our house. So I'm gonna make it a little smaller. Still using just plain old white paint. So I'm gonna come back in here, and I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller. Okay, actually a lot bit smaller. Okay, you see how I did that? Super simple. You don't like it, you take your brush, your bigger brush, maybe a little water, and just blend it into the background. That's why I'm using white. If my background was yellow, I'd maybe use an orange or a light green or something, but this is gonna work just fine. Now, we're going to do the outside shape of our house. Again, using the white. And I'm gonna come over here, and it's on an angle. So the base of our house is maybe about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. I'm gonna come up, okay? the side. Come around the same size over here. Remember, it's a gingerbread house. It doesn't have to be exact. This doesn't have to be up to code, okay? We're just getting an idea. And because one side this is more on an angle, I can come over here and make it more of an angle. Again, it's gonna be a little easier for you guys because you're gonna be directly in front of it. I'm kind of off to the side. So there we go with that. Okay, now, the peak of our house. I'm gonna come straight up, okay, from my doorway. All right, put that dot there. And then we're gonna come down on an angle. Again, if you are so inclined, you can use a ruler if you'd like. That's not kind of how I roll, but that's me. I know there's some people that are type A, and you want it to be exact like that. Okay. So there's the top of mine. It looks kind of wonky. Maybe this side's a little too high. So what am I gonna do? You know it. Blend that in. Maybe bring it down a little bit. Okay. A little bit better. This side's a little wonky. Again, we'll get rid of that later. Not stressing over it, okay? So now this is the base of our house. Come straight down. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to put our color in, okay? And your house can be whatever color you choose. I think I want it to be a little bit on the traditional side. So what I'm going to do is make mine brown, like gingerbread, okay? So I have some red, yellow, blue, and white on my canvas, palette. I'm gonna grab a little bit, put it here. Grab a little bit more of the red, put it there. Grab some of that blue, put it there, okay? Okay, just like that. And I'm gonna blend it, okay? Depending on what colors you add to it, depends on the shade you get. Right now, there's tons of blue in there, so what our house is pretty purple. Add more yellow. Okay, now it's a little bit more green. So what am I gonna do? Add more red. And again, this is why we don't put all the colors on top of each other, because then we'll have tons of color, but not the colors we want. So I'm just gonna keep playing with this until I get the shade that I'm happy with. You decide what color you want. I want a little bit more yellow. Now I'm just going to drag it. Okay, that's kind of the color I'm looking for. Okay, if you decide you want it a little bit more ginger-esque, let's add some yellow to it. Yeah, liking that. Get more yellow. So I'm just adding yellow. Again, you're gonna play with it, get the color you're happy with. I'm not doing anything you can't see. It's a little bit easier for me to blend it this way as opposed to having my arm up in the air. You see, I'm just adding some more yellow. And I wanna make enough that's gonna cover the whole house. Okay, so at this point, you wanna make sure you're making enough paint because we are blending. Now, if you have brown, by all means use it. But I like to teach the blending aspect. I want everybody to know how to blend stuff. So I'm making sure that I have enough to cover that area. So I want about as much paint as maybe like a $50, you know, like a 50-cent piece. I'm still blending. So this fight takes the longest, but you have to get it to the color you're happy with. So that's why I'm still blending. So it's taking a lot more yellow than the other colors, just so you know. So, you know, a fair amount of red, blue, but then I find the yellow is taking me to the brown that I'm interested in. So I'm just gonna, again, do it down here, just because it's easier for me to blend it. You can use your brush to blend it as well, but then at times it gets really full. Then it makes it a little bit harder to clean your brush. So I don't want to do that. Okay. So again, I'm just going with that brown. Okay, I'm happy with this. Yeah, I am actually. Okay, a little red there. So again, this, like I said, this is probably the longest, hardest part of the whole process. It's just getting that color you're happy with. And I added a little bit more red because I wanted a little bit more red in there. Okay. So that's giving me my brown. I'll put down my stick. I'm going to pick up my, should I use my medium, my large? For right this second, let's use my medium brush, okay? And see how I like that. Yep, like it. But you know what? I think I'd like it a little brighter, a little lighter maybe. So what can I do? How can I fix that, guys? What can I do to make it a little brighter? Yeah, I can add a little bit of white to it. I can drag it along here. So I'm going to grab a little bit of white. Look how much. Oh my goodness, that's it. I just put some over here to make that a little bit lighter, okay? And I'm just going to outline my house here using the medium-sized brush, okay? Just going over actually the line or close to the line. Because like, remember I said sometimes the line is wonky? Well, it's just a guidance. You know, you're not looking for Architecture Digest to come and, you know, critique your gingerbread house. Okay, continuing on, I'm going to the bottom. Going up and around the doorway. And you could do a peaked, you know, an archway, or you can do it more on a point, your choice. Do the bottom, okay? And I can continue with this brush, but you know, we'll be here a while. So what am I gonna do? Correct. I'm gonna go back and get my bigger brush because we're dealing with a big brush, a medium, a small brush. So I'm just gonna grab some of this here and just fill it in. Coming from the top down. And again, remember, this is supposed to be gingerbread, supposed to be wood, but made of gingerbread. So we want to go in that up and down motion again, not sideways. And funny, yesterday I saw somebody make a gingerbread house out of Pop-Tarts. It was quite interesting. So I grabbed a little bit more white because I'm pulling from here. Remember, like I pulled my other colors, pulling it in, grabbing it in a bit, filling it in there. And it's okay if all the colors don't match up. It's supposed to be wood, even though we know it's really gingerbread. I'm just coming down off the eaves like that. And don't stress about the top. We're going to cover it with frosting. Royal icing, to be exact. Royal icing is that icing that will break your teeth once it dries. And I don't think it tastes very good, but that's just me. And again, just going in there, dragging it down. Okay, how's it looking, guys? You think it's okay? Okay. And again, because I'm pulling from here, just dragging a little bit of that white over. I'm not even putting my brush into the white, I'm just dragging it off the sides. turn my brush over, pull it up. Okay. Happy with that? I'm happy with mine-ish. Okay. Let it dry up a little bit, because then we want to give it some, I don't know, a little bit of interest on the wood part. Okay, and what that would mean would be adding some more color to it. So I'm just gonna blow on it, really, that's it. And I'm gonna go into my regular without any white in it. It's a little bit dark, right? Just grabbing some of that color there. And I'm just gonna come up from the bottom and just drag it up a little bit. Maybe that side of the gingerbread got stuck in the oven a little longer than anticipated. Okay, almost like a little bit of a shadow there, maybe from down here as well. And again, I'm not adding white this time, I'm just pulling directly from the color that we made. And very little bit on my brush. And I see I'm just bringing it up and letting it trail off, because I don't want, you know, a hard line. Just letting it come up and trail off. Now remember how I said before, well, I don't know if that was this video or another one, but if you put paint on top of paint, sometimes you're pulling it off. I just pulled it off right there. So I'm gonna let that dry up a little bit. In the meantime, I'm gonna come up to the top of my house and I'm gonna drag down with some of that darker color, okay? And again, this is just a personal preference. It's not mandatory. I think it just gives it a little bit more love. And I'm sure in the painting, on the video, it looks very, very blocky, and it's not. And you know what, when I get a little bit more on here, I'll show you, I'll bring it up close to you. But I just want it to come down like that. Blow on that bottom piece, and again, bring it up. See, I'm covering that. And notice that when I come up, I kind of like swipe. So I'm coming up and swiping off. Coming up and swiping up. See, I pulled up again. Okay, so I'm coming to this side. Come up and swipe off. All right, I'm gonna bring it close so you see that it's not as blocky as it may appear. Actually, let me pull it down a little bit. And if you feel it's too dark, again, this is something you can do all day. You can go back and take some with the white that we did earlier, right? And put it there and just blend it in. Just blend it in. Oh, had some blue in there. See what happens? Sometimes you get some color in there, no biggie. We're just gonna go in there and fix it. See? How easy is that? Okay, come down. So this really does have a wood type effect. Again, don't anguish over it. This is just me. When you're done with it and you're happy, you're done with it, okay? Up and down, up and down. If you want to make it very blocky, by all means, just throw the brown paint up there, call it a day. And that's fine too. But you know, I'll stress over this kind of stuff and it's not necessary. Okay, so there's my gingerbread house. And I'm liking them. I am liking them, not gonna lie. I think on the bottom, I really wanted to curve in with the snow. So I'm gonna come across using the tip of my brush. Can you see that? It's actually that thin, thin tip. And I'm just gonna come across. So it's part of my house. You see I went over a little bit? That's okay, I'm gonna put something on there. Okay, so we're gonna let this dry up a little bit. And then we're going to do, well actually we can do the inside of our house right now, inside of our doorway, because it's not going to touch or worry about the house itself. So I'm taking my medium-sized brush. Now guys, I want you to use the brush that you are most comfortable with, okay? For me right now, it's the medium. So I'm gonna take some black. I had some black on a palette I was using earlier today, and I hate to waste anything. So I hate to waste the plates and I hate to waste the colors. So I'll just use this. If I didn't have a palette, I would go directly to my, my little cup, but I'm not. So I'm just gonna take up some straight black, right? Load up my brush. And I'm just gonna go beside my brown, come up, and come back down, okay? And it's okay that it touches the brown. That brown has already been dried, okay? So then again, following that curve of the bottom, I'm gonna do the same thing. This is dry, so I use my pinky as leverage to give me some control. And I'm gonna follow that line and just go across, okay? And it's a little bit, it needs to be a little bit more rounded. I can always fix it later with the white. After everything's dry, I can always go back and adjust stuff, okay? So I'm just going to do the inside of my house here, white. I'm sorry, black. I'm going to let that dry. So the great thing about this is you go from one spot to another, gives it a chance to dry. You know, I didn't want to have to wait, so I did the around the door frame initially and then did everything else, okay? And again, thin coats, guys. You don't need to have gloppy paint. You want it to dry today, and today it's actually raining here, so it's shocking that anything is drying. Okay, so that's my doorway. It's a little bit rounder on that side, but it's a gingerbread house. It's okay. Okay, if I went crazy, I can go back over and put some brown. So I'm gonna let that part dry. And while that's drying, I say we put a little snow on the roof with our icing, okay? So I'm going to clean up my brush really, really well because I don't want any color going into it, because now I'm going to deal with white again. And again, you can come directly out of your little cup. I'm gonna swipe down. If I swipe up and it's wet, it's gonna go into my sky. So I'm gonna swipe down. Dry, 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 dry. Okay? So because of that, I can go ahead and put the snow on my roof. And let me just check in here. A little tacky, but I can wait 2 seconds. And put our snow on the roof and put our windows in. And when the black dries, we can go around it and put our candy cane door frame. So right now, I'm going to take my medium-sized brush and I'm gonna load it up, okay? So you see, I have a fair amount on there. And I'm gonna start at the peak of my house, and I'm gonna let my brush kind of spread out a little bit. Because if you're pressing on there, see how it spreads out a little bit? And we want plain old white up there. And I'm making it about 1/4 inch thick, wide, I should say. Because there's a lot of snow. Therefore, a lot of icing. Okay? Then we come down this side. Again, because it's dry, here's another opportunity if you wanted to, you know, even it out. But I'm fine with it as it is. I'll make it a little bit thicker up there too. How cool is that? And it comes over to the edge. Bring it to the side of the house. Okay. I'll let that dry a little bit. Again, because it's a dark color, I'm just going to go back in again, make sure. That is a wee bit tacky. So I'm just going to take my, you could blow on it. I'm just going to take my heat gun, which is the same as a blow dryer. I have it out. I could as well do the door as well, right? You don't have to use it. It's basically just so that I can expedite my videos. But like I said, since I have it out, I'll do the doorway as well. All right. Yeah, so I just was rushing it through. You can, at that point, when you're ready for stuff to dry, go have a hot chocolate, you know? Go see what the rest of the family is doing. So from up here, I'm just gonna drag it down a little bit. See? And not exactly even, you know? Because this is the snowdrift coming down. And you see when I bring it down, like I didn't do it on this side, I'm doing it on this side. I bring my brush away from the canvas. By doing that, it gives you that more pointed look. I'm gonna grab some more. Okay, how's that looking to you guys? A little stark difference, right? So I'm gonna go back up here because I want it to be a little bit more consistent, because the top is so full and you know, it's going over light blue as opposed to going over this, which is brown. I'm gonna drag some more. You can use the side of your brush. You don't have to use the laying it flat. Okay, and again, you can play with that, do as much as you want, as little as you want. Right now, we're going to make our windows, and our windows are going to be on the side of our door. And all our windows are, and I'm going to use my small brush for this. Why? Because it gives us more control. In our brushes, the bigger the brush, the more coverage you'll get, but the less control you'll have. Medium brush, medium control, medium coverage. Thin, small brush, super amount of control, very little coverage. So I'm just gonna load up my brush with straight up white, and I'm going to use the top of my doorway as kind of a guide, okay? And I'm just gonna come, again, make sure it's dry, and I'm just gonna make a window. What is a window? It's a square. That's it. Because remember, this is a house made out of cookies and frosting, icing, I should say. I'm gonna come across and come down, come up. Now at any point, if you feel it needs to be darker, the white I should say, because there's too much brown coming through, by all means, let it dry and then come back. So now I'm gonna use this side. Do the same thing, using that guide right there. We want to try to be even. I mean, it doesn't matter, it's a house. It's so quiet. This is where I usually tell people to breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Okay, I am gonna go back probably and put another coat on it, but for now, pretty good. So I'm going to make sure that my black is dry. And again, we don't go up and down, we just tap. Yep. Yep. Perfect. Why? Because I'm going to take white on there now. If I was to put the white on top of the black and it wasn't dry, we'd have a gray door front, and we don't want that. So again, using my pinky, I'm going to start at the top because I know I'm not going to be able to go all the way up with one stroke of paint. I don't think I'd be able to get enough on my brush. So I'm going to start from over here, go up and over and down. Okay, and I was right, I was just barely running out. And then I'm gonna come down here. Okay. Now at this point, remember I said the black was a little going that way? At this point, I can fix it with my candy cane door front. All right, okay, so we're gonna let that dry as well. I'm gonna come up here to the top where it's dried a little bit and do a little bit more icing over my, let's come down. Why? Because it's dry now, get a little bit more coverage. I love it. It looks like icicles. And again, put as many as you want. Put as few as you want. It's your house. And you can stroke up if you like too. But I like coming down. It looks like points. Now again, the top, the roof of our house, if you'd like a little bit more, by all means you can go up there and add some more now. There we go. Okay, so we have our roof on, our windows, our door jamb. It's time now to try to get some color on here. So I will get some more paint and I'll be right back. I grabbed a little bit of red to throw onto my palette. And you see, again, this was already here. I just added a little bit more because by not mixing them all together, you always have a little bit of goodness on your plate. You don't have to go and waste any more paint. So I've got my small brush, okay, and my red paint. I'm gonna load it up a little bit, okay? And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put a chimney, okay, on our house. And it's kind of going sideways. I can make it go straight up, but let's have some fun. Let's make it go sideways. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna come right up to where my paint is, and again, I check to make sure it's dry. And I'm just gonna come up. Okay, now you see it's on a slant. So this one didn't come all the way up to here because it started down lower. Get a little bit more paint. Okay. And come across. Skip a little bit. Actually, you know what? Instead of skipping, I'll show you a little secret. I can do it later. I'll just put all the red in there. Let me get that up there. Looks kind of pink right now because it's going over that light color. Actually, looks like a pinky purple. And the top is a little bit wider. The bricks are a little bit wider. So I'm gonna come across, come down a little bit and back. Okay, you see that? Made it a little bit wider on the top. Like that. So I like to, you know, do all one color and then go back and do all the next color. It just saves me have to keep washing my brush. So we've got that up there. We're gonna blow on that for a little bit. See how it's going? Let's fix that in there. Okay, like that. So now, while I'm up here, I'm going to take some of my red and I'm gonna add a little a little gumdrop. Okay, make sure it's dry so I can put my hand down, right? So a little red gumdrop over here. Okay, and then I'm gonna skip it a little bit and maybe make it a little bit bigger. And again, by starting small, you can always make it bigger. Always so much easier to make it bigger than trying to scale it down, okay? Then I'm going to come over here. I'm gonna leave some space for other colors. Over here, put another one. Again, trying to keep it the same size. If it's not, that's okay. Okay, and I'm gonna leave a little space for some other colors. And I know how many colors I'm going to put up, so you need to decide that ahead of time. So I have yellow, red, green, blue. So I'm leaving room for those colors. And they don't have to be in the exact order, you know, unless that's how you roll. That's kind of how I roll when it comes to this kind of stuff too. So I figure red, yellow, green, blue, red, yellow, green, blue, red. So I add some more there. And again, I made sure it's dry so I can put my hand on there. That's super important. So red, yellow, green, blue, red. So you see I have all this control because I'm using such a small brush. If you want it to be bigger, you can make them a little bigger. Making them all kind of the same size. And again, because we're going over another color, like I said, going over the blue and white, kind of gives us a purple, because you know red and blue make purple. While I'm here, I'm going to do another coat because it's pretty dry of my red. That way. So we really don't want it that purpley. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't want it that purpley. If you do, sweet deal, you're already there. I'm pulling it across. Get the color in there. Okay, you can decide if you want to go over more coats, you know, later. Red, yellow, green, blue, red. Okay, I've also decided I want a heart, okay? I want a heart right there in the middle. Now what I'm gonna do, like ordinarily I would say, you know, use a light brown, see if you got the placement. It's a gingerbread house. I'm just happy to have the heart there. So what I do, and I'll show you, is I load it up with the red, okay? Load it up. I'm gonna make a small heart, again, dry. So make a small heart. I'll show you why. Because I may just want it that small. I don't, I want it bigger. But by making a small one and getting the placement, okay? And if I need to scoosh it over to the right or to the left, I can still do that by just, you know, building it up a little bit differently. But I'm happy with the placement, so now I'm gonna make it again. Building it up, see that? You bring it a little closer. See the way I'm building it up from our initial one? Okay, put you back down there. Get some more paint. Still building it up. So the center stays the same and the place of the bottom stays the same. Okay. And I'm happy with that. I'm gonna probably come back, maybe put a few more coats on it. If I want to make it pure red, I could put some white down first and then the red over it, but I'm pretty happy with the way this is looking right now. So again, still have my small sharp brush. A sharp brush, when I say that, is my thinnest brush. Grab some paint. Now, if you want to get a sharp point, roll it. By rolling it, you get a sharp point. Why do I need to do that? Because I have candy canes going around my front door. And I'm gonna start here in the middle, just from the top to the bottom, loading up my brush each time, okay? I just said it and didn't do it. Loading up my brush each time. And you're gonna try to make it even. Doesn't have to be. Because remember, you're not gonna be right on top of it either. When you're looking at it, add some more. If you feel too much of the whites coming through, what are you gonna do? That's right, you're gonna go back and do another coat once it dries. And that's with all of our colors. If you want more, you know, if you want more coverage, you want a brighter, a more solid color, and you're going over another color, by all means, please, just go ahead. You're painting. I'm just giving you a guideline. Our painting shouldn't be exact. Put your own spin on it, your own flair on it. Okay, what are you thinking? So far, so good, right? Okay, so I'm gonna come back over here now. Now, if you didn't want to put this candy cane line on it, you don't have to. But I think it just makes it look so pretty. There we go. It's a little thicker on that side, right? Because remember I was fixing where I had too much black on the door, and that's fine. Okay, if I want to go all the way to the line, it's okay if it goes over the black a little bit. Okay, like that? I like that. And I'm gonna touch up, now I see I'm coming out to the side because it's wet over here. I'm really taking my fingers over here to the side. Or another option is, and I'll show you, turn it upside down. By turning it upside down, your hands aren't gonna go up there. Getting a little bit more paint to my brush, I can do this. There's always a way to get around things, guys, in painting. There's always a way to make it work for you. A lot of people step away from their paintings, let them dry. I got things to do, like more paintings. So I want to get them done so I can start a new one. So I'm just going around that side, like I said. Top's a little bit wider, the bricks. Okay, and while I'm here, I will do another coat on my gumdrops. My plate was moving. Over here. And again, I'm using my small brush. You can use whatever brush you like. I like the small ones. Get lots of control. And you notice how I'm not saying I'm using a number 4 or what have you. I know we're all using different kinds of brushes. Later on, maybe we'll get to the point where I can say, yeah, we're using this brush, that brush, give you the exact sizes. You can go and get that. Right now, we're just getting our program off the ground, and we want to make sure everybody's happy. So again, not putting my hand over there because I know that's wet, but I want to get some more color onto the heart. I love that. So cute. Okay, now I'm going to turn it upside down, right side up, I should say. Make sure it's in the frame. Okay, so now we're going to have a little path that's going to lead you to the house. And when it's far away, the dots are going to be smaller. But as they get closer to you, they're going to get a little bit bigger. So again, because I have my red out, I'm going to put some red stepping stones. And they're going to be small while they're up close to the house, okay? And they're kind of oval shaped, okay? And then I'm going to probably have another one somewhere over here. A little bit bigger, not lots. Then maybe another one over here. Again, getting a little bit bigger. Because remember, I have other colors sifting in there as well. Maybe another one shoots over here. Wonder what kind of candies they're using for that. What do you think? I think they used gumdrops up there. And down here could be Red Hots, which are a cinnamon candy, or a Nico wafer, which basically is just circles of chalk, if you ask me. My husband does not like Nico wafers. But as kids, we ate pretty much any candy. Okay, and again, I'm coming on a slant. Maybe over here, it's getting a little bit bigger. Because remember, it's coming to the forefront now. All right, and maybe I'm gonna skip some, just come down here. Because remember, we have those other 3 colors to get on there as well. And I'm gonna say this one maybe is, I'm gonna pull it up and put it on top. Fill that in. Okay, so what do you guys think? So far, so good? Yeah, a little more fill in there. And again, because they're going on white, so much easier, but you still may want to have a little bit more depth in it. Make it a little darker, a little deeper. And because these have already dried up here, because I put such a small amount on, I can go back and do that second coat. The bottom's gonna take a little bit longer because it's the last part I did, and it has, putting that in there. But again, like I said, thin coats dry super fast. Kind of, it's a goal, okay? So, still loving it? I am. And later on, I'll go back and do some highlighting. Another coat, again, my hands off to the side of the red, just to fill that in. Not all the way, just doing it up there, okay? So, I've got my red on there, and that's pretty much everywhere that I'm going to have red. So now I'm going to move over to the yellow. I'm gonna wash out my brush really well, right? We don't leave our brushes in the water. We wash them out. We lay them down on a paper towel, let them dry up a little bit. And now, because I know everything is dry, I'm gonna be able to use my yellow from a previous palette. I still have some yellow there. I'm gonna use that before I go ahead and take more from the cup, okay? So my yellow, I'm gonna come up here, I loaded it up. And again, making sure my hands aren't touching there because that was the last place that was wet. And I'm just gonna come over here and go in there. I knew I was gonna have 3 on this side of the chimney. Doesn't really matter. I just doing that, okay? And again, because the yellow's going over the light blue, has a kind of a greenish tinge, but I'm not gonna worry about it. Then up here, again, what am I gonna do? Because I did do that heart, right? And we don't wanna mess up anything. Turn it upside down, and I'm gonna go beside the red over here. See, the bottoms are kind of flat because it's on the roof. The tops are a little rounded though. Get that yellow on there. And again, thin coats. Then I'll do some yellow over here. And again, if it's not, pattern, you don't have to do a pattern. Do it whatever you want. It's going to depend on how many, how much room you leave. If you find you didn't leave enough room, that's fine. Switch it out. Okay, so there's some more of those. I'm gonna blow on it a little bit. Because again, I didn't put tons and tons of paint on it. I can do that and go back and do the next coat already. Thin coats, that's the key, my friends. How adorable. I know. So now, turn it back upside down, and we're gonna go back to our walkway, okay? Again, using some yellow paint, tiny little stepping stone, remember? And again, I don't want this so much of a pattern here, so maybe I'll skip a little and come over to here. Okay. And then, oh, these are the hard questions, right guys? Where are we gonna put it? I'm like, maybe one down here. So again, a little bit wider, a little bit bigger, I should say, because it's closer to you. Things in the foreground, okay, foreground are always gonna be larger than things in the background, further away. And maybe one down here. Up, like I said, I'll pull it up here. Get this little guy over here. Super light coats, guys. So light, I can come back up here and do my second coat. Now, again, if you don't want to do a second coat, you don't have to. I just wanted to have that color really pop and not be muted by the white behind it. But that's just me. Okay, so far so good? I believe so. So I'm going to wash out my brush and going to move on to blue. And I'll show you why. Okay, so now I'm going to go and get some blue paint. Remember my old palette from another painting earlier today? I have tons of it on there. Why would I add more? I'm going to use that because we're not mixing anything right at the moment. Load up my brush. And again, it's wet down here, so why not just turn it? I know we do a lot of turning. We wouldn't have to if we waited for it to dry, but come on, we're all excited. We want to get these things done so we can move on to our next painting. I mean, enjoy it though while you're doing it. Okay, so put that little guy there. That's a happy blue. Gumdrop. And I'm gonna come over here on this side of the yellow. Make a nice big gumdrop up there. And come over here. Okay, the closer you get, the more precise you have to be because you don't want to mess up the ones next to it, right? What do you think so far? I know, me too. So because I did light coats, what can I do? Exactly, do my second coat. You know what I love about doing paintings like this on video is that past students who have left, they can watch it and do it themselves. You know, I bond with my students, which is wonderful, you know. I have one gentleman, when he made Lieutenant Colonel, he was in Germany, and actually I was invited to Skype at his ceremony. He even mentioned me. It was so sweet. But that's the kind of stuff we do. We create these relationships based out of a fondness for art. And it really is kind of sweet. Okay, so we got our blue on there. And we're back to the turning. Oh, look at it. And, you know, for those folks out there that are my age, it kind of looks like some Wonder Bread. Wonder Bread was a type of bread, well, a company that you can get ages ago. And their packaging were dots, just like that. So I love the way art can make you remember certain things. Okay, so I'm coming down here and I'm gonna skip up there and maybe just come here. Sometimes it's hard to not make a pattern when you're trying not to. So I'll do a little one up here, well, a little out of the, again, it's still bigger than the ones above it because it's getting closer to us. And then, let me see where I want to go. I'm going to come down here. I think I'm going to come right off the canvas. It's going to be so big. Okay. Now remember, all of them are the same size, but it's where they're located that decides, you know, what they look like to us. And later on I can go underneath and continue that stepping stone underneath there. How cute. I'm liking it. Okay, again, thin coat, come back up here, do another coat. Oh yes, it's lovely. Okay, so now, again, I have my blue and my yellow here from a previous class. Because I need so little, I'm going to mix right up here. Okay, so I'm gonna grab some blue. Don't need tons of it. Let me find the camera. Okay, just grabbing some blue up here. And I'm grabbing this yellow. Okay, and I'm gonna blend. I see I blend off to the side because by doing it off to the side, I can always go back and grab some more of whichever color I choose. Maybe I want a little bit more blue. So I'm grabbing more blue. Maybe I want a little bit more yellow. I'm grabbing more yellow. Again, I only need enough to do those little dots and the gumdrops. Okay, so I'm gonna decide what color I like, and then we'll start. Again, my shoulder doesn't work too well when I'm doing upside down kind of stuff like that, and I'm off to the side. But maybe Christmas I'll get another tripod. That would be so cool. Okay, so let me just make enough of it so that I have enough to do my stepping stones and my gumdrops and two coats on each. And you could use other colors. You could blend all your colors, not all together, you'll get, brown. But, why don't you do orange? And that would be mixing yellow and orange, yellow and red. Or you could do purple by doing blue and green, okay? I'm sorry, purple, blue and red, I'm sorry. Okay, so again, going back upside down, just easier. Don't have to worry about getting into other stuff. And I'm gonna do a nice big fat gumdrop right here next to the chimney. Okay, and I'm gonna skip over to here. Pick up some more paint. Cute. And see how they're filling right in? A little green over here. Okay. All right, do you know I have never made a real gingerbread house? And I'm kind of up there in age. Just gonna do like that, dry it up. I have never made a real gingerbread house. Maybe this year I'll get that off my bucket list. Okay, thin coat, so we can do our second coat here. And I'm up there. I'm 57, I'll be 58 in 2 weeks. Wow, wow. I never understood people who don't like to tell their age. I am what I am. So, but some people, hey, whatever. I'm proud I made it this long, so, gotta be proud for every year, every day. All right, get my last coat on there. We're almost done, guys. Can you believe it? And we just have a few little fun highlighty type stuff to do. Got that up. It's time to do our stepping stones. Water on that. Come on, had to mix a little bit more paint. That's okay. So I know I have one up here, right coming out the door. Maybe have two together. Okay. And then some over here. And remember, they're not, you know, laid out like by a landscaper. They're laid out by us, having fun. So I'm gonna have some, maybe some more over here. Getting a little bit bigger now, right? Coming closer to us. Okay. How you thinking? I'm thinking pretty good. I'm liking it. Maybe another one coming off the side there. Getting that on there. Okay, I'm gonna put my second coat on. See, just by giving it that little time to dry, how much deeper the color gets with your second coat. And this is the focal point, but we're going to add some fun secondary focal points. This is our primary, and we'll do a secondary. Oh, I'm loving this. I hope you are too. I know I have a lot of stones on there, but you know what? Gives some color to it. I can always go back and decide if I want to add more stones. I think I am going to add a few more yellow stones. Funny, everybody just joke, right? Yellowstone, like the park where Yogi and Boo Boo live in Jellystone. But I was thinking Yellowstone. So I'm going to grab some yellow, and I think I'm going to add some more in here. And another one here. I mean, this is the type of project that could just take you, you'll end up doing the whole side of the mountain here, yellow or purple or whatever colors you like. I like that. I think I'm going to add, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe 2 little blues, you think? What do you think? Anybody? Oh, you agree with me. Fabulous. Grab a little bit more blue. We can have 2 blues next to each other, right? I think so. Again, second coat. I'm loving this. I hope you are too. Okay, so now we're gonna do some other things. Okay, so I think well, you know what? How about we brighten up that star, that heart? You know, you're gonna put a star there. Now that I think about it, you could do a star, you could do a heart, you could do whatever colors you want. Just rinse it out in the water. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of red, just the slightest bit of red over here, right? A little bit of white, the smallest amount. Okay, because we don't want to make pink. We're just looking to brighten up that little bit of red. It makes it a little pinky, but we're just doing that, okay? So it's not super pinky, unless you want it to be, and that's, what am I gonna say, right? You're gonna know it, that's fine too. So I'm gonna come up here, and again, I'm going to kind of highlight it, right? And that's just by making that line around there and then following it around, that same motion, right? See that? Let me bring it closer. So it just brightens it up a bit, just a little bit. And you can do the whole, heart like this, or you can go back and just get the plain old red and just drag it in. See, and it kind of blends it together. So there's no hard line. I just think that's kind of fun. Okay. We're also going to have to put, to separate our bricks. Okay, now I know that that red is completely dry. Otherwise, I wouldn't even think to do what I'm about to do, okay? So let me just, again, and everything beside it is dry as well. Perfect. So what I'm gonna do, again, with my super thin, small brush, I'm going to take my white, okay? And I'm gonna drag it. Got a little, oh my goodness, look how tiny little bit up there, okay? And I'm going to bring it across. I wanna make sure this is all dry before I put my hands down. Okay, underneath that, it's called the cap. I'm gonna line straight across. Okay? Then I'm gonna grab some more, and I'm gonna come down a little bit and drag it across again. Because these are our bricks. So we have to separate them. And when we do that, they're usually like this. They're staggered, the seams are staggered. So where would my next one go? Over here. Okay. See that? Now it looks like real bricks. How fabulous is that? Okay, while I have my brush out here, and I'm a little white in here, I want to look like maybe there's a wind blowing, right? So let me start with it, not so much. And I'm just gonna come up here and make a wind, okay? Just something. Wow, so simple, so minimal, but we get that feeling that there's some wind blowing. And you can do a gazillion of those or just a couple, you know? Maybe there's some over here. I like them all going the same direction. They don't have to be. They can be whatever direction you want. And you notice they don't have to necessarily even all be joined. They can have some spaces in there. So we're getting close to the end of our painting. But remember I said I would fix this over here? Well, because I know everything is dry, put a little white on that. Same thing over here. Okay? We just bring the mountain up to meet you. Perfect. Okay, so now in the distance back here, I think there's a tree. I think that there is a tree living back there, and that tree is what color? Correct. We're gonna make that tree green. So I have, I've run out of yellow on here, but I'm gonna add some more yellow to this plate. Again, we only need enough to make a small tree in the background. So I'm just gonna plop that on there, okay? Okay, and we'll plop there. And again, that's why I like using the sticks. I don't wanna have to waste my paint. And I have some blue there, and I still have some blue down here. So I'm gonna grab my blue over here and bring it closer, okay? Grabbing my blue, bringing it closer. You know, I don't like to waste anything. And I'm hoping, again, I'm hoping Santa brings me a glass palette, which I would be so happy to have, because then you never have to waste anything. You just wash it off. So I'm just mixing this in to get the whatever green I want, okay? And I like a nice green. I want a lot of yellow in there. Unless it's a blue spruce, right? Then we'd have a lot more blue. Something to that effect. Okay. So I have that on there. I didn't mix it 100%, and I'm okay with that. So what I'm gonna do is back here, my tree's gonna live back here, so it's not gonna be very big, right? Because it's way in the background. But I'm gonna start it by just making, and you know, it's not even on this hill. It's in a hill back there we don't even see. So I'm just gonna make a little line like that, okay guys? You see that? Like an upside down bird. That's my first line. From under there, I'm gonna go again, but I'm gonna come out a little bit further. You see that? And it's just gonna keep coming out like this. And it's just almost like a herringbone. We just keep going out, but coming out a little bit further each time. And this is kind of a tall tree. It's not so much fat, but it's a tall tree back here. And then we can make it wider if we need to. Okay. Okay, and then at the bottom, we're kind of like evening it out. So there's less of that V. The V is not as pronounced at the bottom. You see that? Because we want to flatten it. By flattening it, we're going to bring it out like this, so that it's more like that. And we're going to, maybe back there's another little mound of, snow. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back in here and, oh, I guess I put my paint in the blue, which is okay. Come back and get some more green. We have different colors in there. And again, you're just feathering it out. Okay. It doesn't have to be exactly symmetrical. I've never seen one that's symmetrical. Don't we wish you could find though, right? We spend a whole day just trying to find one like that. And because I put that blue on there, I'm just going to go back and get a little more yellow and just brighten it up with some yellow. And again, this is one of those spots where you can just play with this all day long. Now over that yellow, put a little bit darker green. Okay, so I'm gonna say we're done. We're done. What do you think of our gingerbread house? I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. If you prefer to have a little bit of a, mound there, you can do that. I know some people would want to do that. I personally would want to do that. I've seen, where it's done like this. But I'm going to show you a quick little trick. Even though it's after the fact, that your tree is already on the ground there somewhere, I'll show you a little secret, okay? I'm all about the secrets, aren't I? Some straight up white, right? Making sure it's dry. Let me move it here. Okay. Okay. I know when I saw like this was with the tree like this, another one I had seen, I'm like, yeah, you know what, now that I think about it, I don't really like that. That's the great thing about art, you can do what you want. So it has the idea that there's snow back there, right? How do we get it separate from this? I'm gonna show you. Again, I'm making it very, very thin. I'm not putting lots and lots of snow on there. Because again, I want it to look like it's in the background somewhere. I'm scrubbing it in. Okay, get a little bit more. Again, it's such a small amount. We want it really, really thin. So we're basically just going over that blue a little bit, okay? That's okay if some of the blue stays there, because that's going to be what designates our line between this mountain and this mountain. Or hill, or dale, or whatever they call these things, okay? So, yeah. Again, you don't have to do this. I just, like I said, one I had seen similar was like this, where the tree was just hanging out in the back. But I need that. I need this little definition here. And you see, again, doing it super, super light. All right, that makes me happy. Hope it makes you guys happy too. Just get a little more down here. I know, I always say I'm done and then I go on. It's like watching the movie credits and they have another scene after all the credits go through. Okay. All right, now I'm done. Now I'm happy, okay? So I hope that you enjoyed doing this one. Let me just move my stuff so I can go and clean up and then come right back. So you know how I always say we're done and then we're not. Oh, I forgot to just put a doorknob on here. Just a circle, right? And then I wanted some little highlights, which is just a little bit of white paint. I know it's hard to see, a white paint coming across the top of our little circles. See that? It's just the slightest little bit, but it really does make a difference. Okay. And again, it's all on the top, nothing on the bottom, because then it wouldn't make sense. And when we talk about light and direction of light, it's always coming from the same direction, whether it be from the right or the left or the top or the bottom, but it always has to be in the same direction. Oh, a little too much on there. And see how this little tiny, tiny thing really changes it up a bit. Just get a little bit. Okay. And that's when I looked at it and I took it away. I was like, ah, it's not finished yet. And see how it kind of has a little curve? Because it's round. We're putting it on something round. If it was square, it would be a straight line or rectangular, you know. But it's got this little, and it's just the slightest bit. It's not a big honking line. It's just a little bit going across. Huge difference. All right, I'm just going to lift it up a little bit here. Get that on there. And maybe now, since it's closer to you, it's a little bit wider. Not a lot. Not a lot at all, but just a little bit. Okay, so it does make a bit of a difference. Maybe put a little snow here. Again, just a little bit. Okay, so now we're done. I hope you enjoyed this one. I was having so much fun with those little highlights, I decided to add them onto the roof. Okay, again, all coming from one side. So maybe these aren't the sugar type gumdrops, you know, that are covered with sugar. Maybe these are more like what we call dots, which is just a gumdrop without the sugar on it. Which is fine because Lord knows it's sweet enough as it is. Oh, I like that. What do you guys think? Bring it a little closer. I know it's hard to see, right? You can see the ones on the ground. Grab some more. And again, we're just going over the sides. It's so funny, whenever we do a painting, you never know it's over until you see me sit here and say thank you for joining us today, you know? Because sometimes I'll walk away and I'll come back and I'll see something, I'm like, oh, forgot that. And by all means, I'm not gonna just do it on here and not show you. That would be horrible. Okay, now, yep, now I'm happy. I'm so excited to get this gingerbread house made with you guys today. And to be honest, it's the only kind of gingerbread house I've ever made. So let's get started. Well, I hope you enjoyed painting this gingerbread house with me today and going back and forth as many times as I did. But you know, I like to get it perfect for me. Of course, you do it the way you'd like to do it, and I'm sure it'll come out fabulous. So until we meet again, be blessed, be safe, and remember, art is everything. Well, I hope you enjoyed painting this gingerbread house with me today and going back and forth as many times as I did. But you know, I like to get it perfect for me. Of course, you do it the way you'd like to do it, and I'm sure it'll come out fabulous. So until we meet again, be blessed, be safe, and remember, art is everything.